food you're eating can either nourish you or poison you. Wheat has been genetically modified. Maize has genetically been modified. Your dairy is filled with pus, blood, estrogen, hormones of the cow that is kept in a factory with machines attached to their udders. Do you think a diseased cow is going to give you healthy milk?
Dimple Jangda is an Ayurvedic practitioner, a best-selling author, and has coached several celebrities like Dev Patel, Juhi Chawla, Lisa Ray, and many more.
Stop looking for brands to satiate your hunger. Brands are not there to nourish your body. They're there for profit. Our children are born sick because of the mistakes we are making. Stop taking them to all these quick-serve restaurants that are serving poison for lunch and dinner.
Dimple is determined to help millions with a powerful combination of ancient Ayurvedic science, modern research, and nutrition.
To improve your gut-brain axis and to heal your body, mind, and emotions.
33% protein, 33% carbs, your brain runs on carbs, 33% vegetables, fiber to take the protein and carbs down. 90% of the diseases are caused due to internal factors, not external factors. What are the internal factors? We become the lab mice. Your packaged food, processed food has preservatives. If it can survive on the shelf for 6 months, it can survive in your gut also for 6 months. You think your body can digest the preservative which that plastic bag couldn't? They feed off your addiction to their food. So hence they will put, these are straight ticket to hell.
Welcome to What the Hell. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you.
Welcome, Dr. Dimple. I'm so excited that you are here.
Likewise.
Well, gut health is such a beautiful topic and something that I personally am really excited about. And this is because I had no idea what Ayurveda was a couple of years ago. And the moment I started exploring Ayurveda and that came into my life, I realized how important gut health is and how it's sort of in a way beginning of or end of every disease and health issue in our body. So the moment my team came to me and said that you are, they're thinking about you, I completely jumped onto that idea because your, what you are saying and what you're working on is so unique. It's food and gut health. These are sort of two topics that I think all of us undervalue. We all realize that food is important. We need to eat healthy. But I think eating healthy and using food as a medicine and healing your body with food are two different things, and that's what people are missing. I'm really excited that you're here and you're going to teach us so much about gut health and food.
Likewise, I'm really happy for any platform that's promoting preventive healthcare because if you ask me, this is the era of preventive healthcare. If the pandemic taught us anything, it's that if you don't have immunity, if you've not invested in your health, any virus can wipe you out of the face of this planet overnight without any warning. You could be athletic, you could be a bodybuilder. I have seen people drop like 9 pins. And it's heartbreaking. On a daily basis, I hear of these stories, but I also hear stories of miraculous recoveries just through, the placebo effect, the confidence, and building their immunity, investing in their health, addressing their gut health, addressing the nutrition, addressing Agni, which is, the digestive fire. It's a source of life. Agni gone, we're dead. We're as good as dead. So I've also seen both sides of the coin. I've seen extreme cases of sadness and extreme cases of hope and faith and recovery as well. I'm glad we're doing this discussion.
And the more I read up about you, the more excited I got. I learned that you were an investment banker. And from there to suddenly researching, studying, working, writing a bestseller book on Ayurveda, food chemistry, how did all of this happen?
So I guess it was all destiny, God chooses you to do a job on earth. Your job is to at least find it. And when the calling comes, you better answer because you're going to have sleepless nights for the rest of your life if you do not. So I had a series of mishaps or medical challenges when I was born. I was born with epilepsy. I had it up to the age of 11. And, epilepsy unfortunately haunts my family. I had it. My sister had it. We were separated at birth. She was raised by my grandparents. I was raised by my parents. And that affected our relationship. We never got an opportunity to bond and build that sisterhood. Sadly, her son has it, because of other issues. But epilepsy has really plagued my parents' marriage, my parents' lives, and my life. Up to the age of 11, I had it. They took me to every single doctor, hospital, name it, and they couldn't afford it at that point in time, those tests and scans and x-rays. Let me tell you, my father had a humble beginning after losing his father. Right from the top, they were brought down to the bottom, and they had to again make their way back on the top. But they never compromised when it came to my health. And they were so scared. Whatever the doctor said, they would pay any amount of money to get me on that surgery table to get me fixed. Not realizing that people were feeding on their fear. So from epilepsis, I went on to have migraines every single day up to the age of 20. At the age of 16, I had a cancer scare. I, realized I had a tumor, and already a close friend of mine already had adenocarcinoma, which is lung cancer. So I said, okay, so even I have cancer, I'm going to die. I didn't tell my parents. And 6 months later, when I couldn't breathe, that's when I told my mother about it. We rushed to the hospital, needle biopsies, radiation, mammograms. Because of the radiation, the tumor went from this big to the size of my fist. I'm not exaggerating. Within 2 weeks. And I was like, how did it get so fibrocystic in 2 weeks? It's because of the radiation, right? And the needle biopsies. You're poking into that tumor, which is a collection of toxins that the body has collected to protect me from it. Instead of the toxins, flowing freely in my body, the body decided to collect it in the form of a tumor, a waste bag. So instead of removing the tumor, if you're putting a needle into it and doing a needle biopsy, you're letting all those fluids leak back into the body. And overnight, I had to get hospitalized. I had one surgery, came back home, the tumors came back, went back another year, another surgery, deviated septum, tonsillitis. Then they called me back for a 5th surgery, and I said, I'm done. I'm done being cut open. And I woke up during one of my surgeries. And that was probably the most traumatic part of my life, because even today it gives me gooseflesh, to think of it, because my eyes were closed, but I could hear what the doctors were speaking. And my body was paralyzed. And the nurse and the doctors were talking over my body. And the doctor's like, did she move? Did she wake up? And the nurse said, no. I wanted to kill her. I was trying to do everything to move, to tell them that I'm awake. Don't cut me open. Probably I was cut open already. God knows. And I went back to sleep. But that few moments got ingrained in my subconscious memory. 10 years later, I'm deep sea diving in Bali. And that memory came back, and I lost my breath. I forgot how to breathe. Underwater, I started hallucinating. And I couldn't understand, where I am. I'm under the water in the ocean. Which way is up, which way is down, So suddenly I'm hallucinating. And then I kept telling myself, Mommy loves you, Daddy loves you, Mommy loves you, Daddy loves you. And I got out and I was like, okay, this is it. So I was in Bali after many careers as a TV reporter, TV producer, investment banker. At the peak of my career, when I had everything I ever wanted in my life. I had a big fat bank balance. I had the fanciest wardrobe that I ever wanted to wear. I was globetrotting. I was doing like 4 countries in a month. Business class tickets, high-rise hotels. You're literally throwing money from the balcony. You're rich and spoiled. But I wasn't happy. I felt something was missing. The society was envious of my lifestyle finally. I was actually disowned by my society at the age of 24 when I took a divorce from an abusive marriage. And when I had everything, it didn't make sense. And I was like, why do I exist? Is it to prove to the society that my life matters? Is it to teach everyone a lesson that you never put down a girl? What is my purpose in life? Is it to take revenge through success? No. I left my bags in New York. It's still there in storage for the last 7 years. I haven't gone back. Okay, my clothes are all there. And these are my best clothes that I had. I came back and I said, I'm going to do yoga. I'm just going to figure out what my life is about. And I said, I'm going to say yes to everything because I don't have answers to the questions. So anybody who calls me for anything, I'll say yes. My friend called up saying, come to London. I said, yes. Then I went to Oxford. Then I went to Bali, Singapore, Hong Kong, Zurich, Istanbul at the peak of the civil unrest, when the shootout happened at the airport. Then, a few more countries. I was just traveling 10 countries in 11 months. And in that moment in Bali, under the water, I started realizing that I must have been sick and had these many diseases for a reason. There must be a story behind it. I came back to India and I started getting invitations to visit the countryside to see some distressed assets that I could acquire as an investment banker. And I spent time in the countryside. My body started healing. I started sleeping for the first time. I had chronic insomnia after my abusive marriage, but I couldn't fall asleep. I would sleep for barely 30 to 45 minutes. And slowly it improved to 3-4 hours, but I still couldn't sleep enough, so it became chronic insomnia due to the fear of falling asleep. That, what if I don't wake up? And for the first time, I was sleeping for 8 hours and I was waking up naturally without an alarm. And I would go to the restaurant and order a thali, which is for 4 people. I'm not kidding you. Someone who had extremely poor appetite as a child, I wiped that thali clean and the waiter was like, wondering what's going on. And I'm like, don't judge me.
Wow.
Every day I was eating, sleeping, living, coming alive, and my BMI was still great. It's not like I put on weight and became obese. And I was like, what is going on here? And I go to Kerala, I discovered Ayurveda. I said, okay, I'm putting my money in this. So I put all my money, my savings, and my dad didn't ask me a single question because he knew that this time I'm doing something for myself. Not for the society, not for the fame or the money, but I'm doing something for myself. He said, put all your money in this. I will support your personal expenses. Don't take anything out of the clinic. I started a clinic and my uncle said, put your money where your mouth is. Take this clinic up, see how it goes. Hire a bunch of doctors, therapists. We started working. We didn't make money for the first 4 years. It didn't matter. The consultations were practically free for the first 1 year. And I started realizing that patients and doctors had a huge gap. Modern medicine is here, Ayurveda is also here, and patients are somewhere there. They have no knowledge of what is going on in the doctor's mind. And no one was there to translate and explain it to the patient. So after every consult, I started spending half an hour, 1 hour with the patient, explaining what the doctor said. And the patients would ask me questions. Why? In my attempt to satiate their curiosity, I ended up reading whatever research papers that was published, from PubMed, from Harvard, from Stanford. And I must have read about, 1,000 research papers in 1 year. And in the process of answering their questions, I finally found my answers. So that's what they say, right? Nothing is accidental in your life. Okay? The universe works in its mysterious ways to guide you on your path, to help you realize your higher self, and to also give you a purpose and an ikigai to serve the society. Because service to humanity is the rent you pay to live on this planet. And this is the only thing that I piously learned and followed from my grandfather. If you're not serving the society, you are just existing for the sake of it. So that's how this whole journey happened to me.
Wow. I mean, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
But thank you for listening and holding space for this.
Beautiful. It brings so much depth to what you are doing, why you are doing. I think I did not understand, unless you shared. So thank you so much for sharing. This explains so much on why an investment banker is now spending all her life on gut health and food chemistry. When I read that you were researching and spending so much time on food chemistry and gut health, it was super exciting because you picked a very specific topic. Let's start with food chemistry. What is this world of food chemistry, and why is it important to be studied or learned? For, let's say, a layman, why is it important? Let's say if I want to be healthy, how can food chemistry help me?
I'm glad we're touching that subject, because it's honestly my most favorite subject. I started with Ayurveda, and let me tell you, Ayurveda is an ocean of knowledge. And Viruddhahar, which means wrong combinations of foods or conflicting food combinations, is one small subject in that ocean of wisdom and wealth. When I chanced upon it, when my doctor happened to tell the patient, don't eat this combination. So I said, why? She said, it's Viruddhahar. And she left it to that. Now, BAMS, the Ayurveda degree, is also a very extensive 5-year degree. But Viruddhahar, again, is one chapter in that. So I wanted to understand it and I started researching, and that became the favorite chapter even in my book. Chapter 9 has a complete list of food combinations that are toxic. And while we were coming here in the car, my friend was also explaining that her mother had papaya and then milk after an hour, and she ended up in the hospital with food poisoning and diarrhea. So the food you're eating can either nourish you or poison you. It's as simple as that. 90% of the diseases are caused due to internal factors not external factors. What are the internal factors? Your food, nutrition, the combinations of food items you're eating, the water you're drinking, that also plays a huge role. How you're sleeping, how you're waking up, what kind of conversations you're having with your family, what kind of content you're watching on social media, books you're reading. Mind you, your body is listening, watching, consuming everything. And what you're consuming through your eyes, nose, ears, mouth can either nourish you or kill you slowly. So, who created the disease? I, me, myself. There's no point in running to hospitals and blaming the doctors, saying, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Let me tell you, the doctors are also overwhelmed. The hospitals are overwhelmed. There's one doctor to like thousands of patients. Why are we getting sick in the first place? If 90% are internal factors, can we correct those internal factors, which is within our control? 10% is external factors like a malaria or a dengue or a virus that is in the air or an accident or a fracture, which is beyond our control, right? Events and accidents like that. If we actually control 90% of the factors, you'll bring down the stress on the hospitals, and you and I will be able to live a more healthy and a more powerful now. It's better to prevent a disease rather than get sick and then look for the cure.
Yeah, and for some reason, I think what our parents were facing in their 60s is no more a 60s but a 40s problem.
Not even 40s. 10-year-old kids are coming to me with thyroid, with arthritis, 1.5-year-old baby with periods. So let me tell you, it's not anymore diseases for the senior citizens. Our children are born sick because of the mistakes we are making. Look at the amount of plastic in our diet. And back in the day, people were arguing, saying there's no proof and evidence that plastic causes cancer. If Mother Earth cannot disintegrate or dissolve that plastic particle, you think your body can digest it? And now finally there's a research. I remember making a video like 2 years ago and I got attacked, What proof do you have? What proof do you have? I was like, okay. And 2 years later, the media is filled with videos on how much microplastics has been found in human blood. The fetus of a baby was found with tons of microplastics. We are consuming anywhere between 29,000 to 32,000 microplastics per year. Mm-hmm. One tea bag that you put in your cup of tea releases 11,000 microplastics in one cup of tea. Wow. This can trigger cancer, can harm your endocrine glands, which includes your thyroid, your adrenals, all your hormonal glands, your pituitary gland, everything gets affected. And we're looking for a cure outside. Fix the problem. There is a leakage in your house and you're busy, scooping water from the floor and putting it in the bin. Excuse me? Switch off the faucet. Close the faucet first. Fix the leaking pipe. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, and I think cancer is still difficult for people to imagine. But if you look at problems like PCOS, infertility, thyroid you mentioned, it's crazy how rampant and sooner it's coming to people than it was. I was looking at data, there's 42 million thyroid people in India now, which was very small. That number was very small 15 years ago. So there's rampant increase in these diseases, and I think there has to be an answer to it. And I see this being a logical reasoning to, causing all of these things. I actually want to spend a lot of time on some of these diseases and how can these be prevented.
Yeah.
Through whatever you have learned and researched.
Absolutely. So, just to also elaborate on thyroid and PCOS, PCOD, 1 out of 4 women now suffer from PCOS, PCOD, infertility, gynecological disorders, excessive bleeding, delayed period cycle, and hormonal imbalances. Okay, and many of them are being put on birth control pills, which has been proven to increase your risk of stroke, heart attack by 10%. And has also been linked with osteoporosis because it controls your progesterone, which is required for generating bone tissues and, the bone growth and density. So instead of curing the disease, we're actually creating more diseases. Okay. And it has already been said that, every medicine has a side effect. The third biggest killer in the US right now is pharmaceutical drugs, because every medicine comes with a precautionary manual saying that these are the side effects, these are the medicines it cannot be combined with. But not everybody has the time to read every single manual. Paracetamol was safe back in the day. Now it comes with a warning that it's injurious to the liver, right? The food has also been genetically modified now. Wheat has been genetically modified. Maize has genetically been modified. Corn. Your dairy is filled with pus, blood, estrogen hormones of the cow that is kept in a factory with machines attached to their udders, and they're injected, artificially inseminated, forced to give birth every year. Do you think a diseased, unhappy cow is going to give you healthy milk? Not at all. The first thing gynecologists do is take you off dairy when you have PCOS, PCOD. When you have thyroid, they take you off wheat, they take you off white rice, they take you off dairy, they take you off meat, seafood, and eggs. It's the food that is causing the disease. If you understand that one little thing, that you become what you eat, you can actually resolve 90% of your health issues that comes from internal conflicts.
Just a coincidence, right? At Traya, people come for hair loss. We just manage hair loss. The Ayurveda doctors at Traya recommend stopping milk and gluten for patients for at least 3 to 4 months. And we get so much backlash. Imagine a North Indian to be told that you cannot have milk, right? You have grown being said that milk is the most nutritious thing. Your mother has taught you to drink 4 glasses a day at least. Right? For them to really sort of understand why we are saying no is difficult. And we literally tell them that, hey, okay, let's just do it for like 60 days. Think of it as a detox your body needs. And then they come back to us and say, hey, I don't think I want to start again. I feel so much lighter. I feel energetic. I remember this lady, 45-year-old lady from Lucknow, Hindi speaking housewife. She didn't even know the word gluten. She said, ये गेहूं की रोटी जब से छोड़ दी है ना, आपने बालों के लिए छुड़वाई है, अब बाल की प्रॉब्लम तो ठीक हो गई, पर ये गेहूं की रोटी मैं दोबारा नहीं छूंगी. Right? And I realized that it's not just few of us going through health issues to be able to realize that, oh, I have thyroid, so I need to stop this. But overall, it's just turning out to be a healthy choice for people. And maybe what you just explained about these things being modified and adulterated makes complete sense.
Now there's a huge war against packaged and processed foods, thanks to the efforts of our friend Food Farmer, right? That's amazing. What is also happening is people are becoming conscious finally and aware that it's their food that's causing diseases, the food on the plate, okay? So something as simple as like, your packaged food, processed food has preservatives. If it can survive on the shelf for 6 months, it can survive in your gut also for 6 months. You think your body can digest the preservative, which that plastic bag couldn't? The plastic bag couldn't rot that food. Nothing damaged and affected that food. You keep that food in a shoebox in your cupboard for a year, come back, it still looks the same. It has been genetically modified to survive logistics and exporting across the world for the profit and greed of big corporates, okay? We've become the lab mice. Now, grains like wheat, back in the day, we were able to digest it. It was not wrong back in the day. And our parents are also asking us, we could digest it, why can't you digest? They're also right in what they're saying. The answer in that, or the truth in that question is, back in the day, the wheat they had a thin gluten. Gluten is the protein. It had a thin gluten which the body can break down and digest. Now, in the recent years, the scientists and the food manufacturers said that, this, brand of wheat is getting attacked by insects and pests because it's highly edible and nourishing. The same wheat can nourish us and can nourish other flora and fauna. Obviously, all animals, birds, and plants also need that flora and fauna. It's not just for us. So they decided to genetically modify it. And the gluten has become so thick and difficult and hard to penetrate that these bugs and insects are not able to eat it anymore. The produce has gone up. The quantity has increased. And now what do they have to do? They have to sell it to the world to make profit, right? They're selling it to the world. They're making refined flour out of it, which is becoming the base for your breads and pizzas.
Softer and tastier.
It melts in your mouth. You can't eat just once. These are straight ticket to hell. That's what it has happened. And now that protein, that gluten, which is very difficult to penetrate, is getting accumulated in the body. And with every roti that you're having, with that refined atta, your tummy is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And people are like, "Main itna gym karti hu, I do so much. Why am I not losing weight?" Everybody has this little bulge nowadays. And that's the first thing I look at.
The worst
midriff.
kind of fat, visceral fat.
It's not just visceral fat. It's undigested food, 15 pounds. 5 to 7 kgs of undigested food sitting in that gut because it hasn't been digested. it has not been absorbed and assimilated by the small, large intestine, and hence it's not ready for elimination in the colon, and the colon is waiting. And now you're eating more fresh foods, which is pushing the undigested food down. And when undigested protein enters the colon, it triggers cancer cells, and hence the risk of colorectal cancer has gone up and the age of cancer has come down. You can get it at the age of 20, 30, 40. It's no more something that happens during the last few years of your lives. It can happen while you're still young. Because of this, we are genetically modifying foods. Do you think it's not going to genetically modify our DNA? Do we think we are indispensable? We're the only virus on this planet that creates no value. We consume and we destroy. Everything else, the jungle law is such that all animals, birds, plants follow the jungle law. We follow civil law, which honestly is far more destructive than the jungle law to our own human race. I'm not talking about crimes and, the court and lawyers and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the damage we've done to humanity. And we'll be here another, say, 40, 50 years. What are we leaving behind for our children? Diseases, trauma, ancestral health issues. That car and bungalow and that bank balance and those assets you worked I don't want to say the word, but you worked so hard for, is not going to buy them happiness. I've seen young kids coming to me saying, I just want to be able to do potty. It hurts when I go to the bathroom. I just want to be able to play sports. I'm not able to run. I'm running out of breath. I just want to lose weight so people wouldn't bully me anymore.
I think when I see a overweight teenager, it breaks my heart, because I think that's the beginning of an unhealthy life. This female, when later will come and say, hey, why do I have PCOS? It was when you were 10 years old, you had to get healthy. You had to stop watching TV, be physically active, eat healthy, not junk food. Let's sort of, I understand, Dr. Dimple, now that how important this is to be addressed. And we're so lucky to have you, here to help us now sort of understand how to solve this problem. Let's start from teenagers, especially teenage girls. I think if we can share some tips, solutions for them, that's where the impact will be the highest, because they will grow up to be women who are healthy, without PCOS, without fertility issues, which is something that we should begin with.
Yeah, and they're the future of our nation.
Absolutely.
When you educate a woman, they say you educate a country, a nation. But when you heal a woman, she will be able to transfer that health to her children, her parents, her siblings, because women by default are designed by nature to nourish, to care, and to foster the young. Right? So we naturally are designed to do that. I'm not saying that men are less nourishing or caring, but men do the role of protecting humanity, right? So women education is very important. Women empowerment is very important. And along with it, sensitizing the male partner is very important, right? Now, in a house, if a child has PCOS, PCOD, both the parents and the child have to be involved in the healing process. It's not the child's battle alone, okay? And it's not the mother's job alone. You can't put the child on a diet and be eating junk on the side. It's not going to work. So if you want to heal your child, number one, stop bringing alcohol in the house. I'm sorry to say, I see a lot of parents who have a fancy cabinet of alcohol at home and they're very proud about it because you're hosting guests. At what cost? Your child has developed clinical depression, has got gothic habits. She's screaming in her sleep and you're bringing her to me saying, fix her. Well, it's you I need to fix first before the child. Get the alcohol out of the house. Alcohol is called poison. What is a synonym? It's called poison. What's your choice of poison? That's what they ask you in a bar. It's called a spirit. In Vedic literature, it's negative energy. Get that alcohol out of your house. Stop drinking in front of your children. Number two, stop taking them to all these quick serve restaurants that are serving poison for lunch and dinner. Okay? These foods are modified to survive long shelf life. Your burgers, your French fries, your pizzas. they will survive in your gut for months together. Especially refined flour, when mixed with water, turns into a sticky glue-like substance, which gets stuck to your intestines for days together. And I've experienced it. I had one naan roti and I could feel it inside my body for one whole week, even though I felt healthy on the outside. But I was like, something is inside my system and I know it's that naan roti. And since then, I couldn't eat naan. It's not like it made me sick or nauseated or constipated, nothing. But I could feel it inside my body, stuck somewhere here. Stop having refined flour. Stop having refined oil. Look at the snacks that's been sold. Turn it around. Look at the ingredients. Palm oil. Like literally, you're having ingredients that you would put inside the car to run an engine. Stop having ingredients cooked in those unhealthy foods, preservatives, packaged foods. You take these ingredients out of the kitchen and take your child once a week to the farmer's market. Any farmer's market in any city is easy to find. All you have to do is show up. That's what the farmers want you to do. They want you to show up. And today, someone was asking me that, where should I buy it? I said, physically go out and look for it. Stop looking for brands to satiate your hunger. Brands are not there to feed your hunger or to nourish your body. They're there for profit. Okay, they feed off your addiction to their food. So hence they will put additives to make the food addictive for you, right? Pharma profits off diseases. FMCG companies profit off addiction. So you have to understand that. Farmers don't profit from any of these things. They have nothing to do with it. Go to the farmer's market. Let your child be engaged in the process of buying fruits and vegetables. 50% of the diet has to be fresh fruits and vegetables. 30% of the diet can be grains, legumes, lentils, nuts, seeds. And remaining 20% diet can be your spices, your herbs, your fluids, your water. And 95% plant slant no matter what. Even if you're not a vegetarian, even if you're not a vegan, I'm not here to impose my lifestyle on anyone. 95% plant slant has been proven to improve longevity without diseases. What's the point of having a long life if you're not healthy and happy? And now the problem we're facing is our lifespan, thanks to modern science, thanks to all these transplants and advanced surgeries, is 80, 90, 100 years. You can even put a half-dead body on the ventilator and keep them alive for as long as you want, okay? But God forbid, such a situation arises that doctors are doing a commendable job. Our lifespan has become this much, 80, 90, 100 years. But our health span has reduced to less than 10 years. So we spend the majority of our life suffering, running from doctor to clinic, pillar to post, looking for a cure for our diseases. Is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? No. Is this what you want for your children? No. So I tell the parents, if your child has PCOS and PCOD, you are the author of her disease. If your child has thyroid obesity, you are the author of his or her disease. So recently we had some success stories, and this has been amazing. A young boy, 13-year-old who had thyroid and living in London, one of my favorite clients, and I told her, bring him on the call. I'd like to talk to him directly, not with a parent. And I started giving him all these facts. I said, maida, this bread and pasta, stays in your gut for 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. Banana chips and potato chips. Banana is okay, but potato chips has acrylamide, which can paralyze rats. Do you know honey heated is poisonous? Do you know this is what happens when you mix fruit and milk and make a milkshake? He kept saying, wow, wow. He was so amazed because no one told him that. You're just imposing rules on him, saying, eat this, eat that, don't do this, don't do that. All the sentences are beginning with don't. So much negativity in the house. The minute I started talking to that child, he just kept saying, wow, wow, at the end of every sentence. And I forgot about this. A few months later, the mother came back and said, his thyroid has reversed and he's off the medicines. His doctor has taken him off the medicines. Why? Not just the child. The whole family changed their diet and lifestyle to support the child's recovery process. So that's the first step, educating the parents and having a direct conversation with the child, okay? So PCOS, PCOD, this is the first thing you do. You take out all the packaged processed foods out. You take out meat, seafood, eggs, and dairy. I'm sorry to take such a huge bulk of food out of your menu, but animals get cancer, blood pressure, diabetes, hormonal health issues, cortisol rise, and trauma that they store in the body. Where does that go when you consume the meat? Inside your body. Right? And butchers have confessed in the conspiracy theories that even if an animal has cancer or tumor cells, they go ahead and butcher and package it because they're never going to see the face of the person who's eaten it. Okay? it has actually been proven that the consumption of beef has increased the risk of colorectal cancer by 27%. So 1 out of 4 meals of yours can give you cancer. And that's not a joke anymore. So PCOS, PCOD, take the hormones out of the diet. Your body is not able to digest hormones. Your body is not able to digest the estrogen that it's producing. Are you going to put estrogen from another animal inside your body? No. Basics. Go back to the basics.
Okay. So let's move to alternatives for what you are cutting down here. Right? Because all I heard was don't eat this, and why don't eat it, which made complete sense. Now let's go to what should we eat as alternatives, right? Starting all the way from wheat to if we are stopping egg and meat, what for protein in the
Yeah.
veg diet. I think that's what even the viewer would have in mind. So
Absolutely.
small alternatives would be great for a mother watching for her teenager.
Sure. In fact, that's one of my favorite parts of the consult. Starting with wheat, because it's our favorite topic today. What is a replacement for wheat? India has enough grains to feed the world. We have a ton of millets, and 2024 was called the Year of the Millets by the United Nations for a reason. It can grow even in the harshest of climates with very little water. And it's one of the most nourishing grains, loaded with fiber. You don't need your packaged cereals that is loaded with sugar. You instead will have millets for breakfast. So instead of wheat, you'll have barnyard millet, kodo millet, proso millet, little millet, foxtail millet, buckwheat, bajra, jawar, makai, ragi. Even broken wheat is healthy. Amaranth, sama rice. These are your go-tos. You just removed one ingredient, wheat, and we're adding 10
yeah.
healthy ingredients. Okay? I literally have millets on display in my kitchen so that I feel like eating them. Simple porridge. Take 2 teaspoons of millets per person, 1 glass of water per person. Boil it well in a mud pot. The taste is so delicious. You're starting your day with the mitti ka smell, the smell of earth in your food. The whole day you're going to be in a good mood. Your child will be like satiated. Your child will not have hunger pangs. Instead of giving oats, because right now oats is notorious for mold toxicity, and also it gives a lot of sugar spike, right? Unless it's steel cut oats, you eat it once a week, it's fine, but not every day. No cereals, no oats, no wheat parathas for breakfast, no breads. Start having millets. That's one. Number 2, white rice is usually no for those who have PCOS, PCOD, and gynecological disorders, right? It might seem like a big sacrifice, but you can still have red rice, black rice, brown rice. Parboiled Kerala rice is the richest source of B12, which we are all deficient in. Have that. Sorted. 2 cups of rice per
I
day.
love the Kerala rice.
Delicious, right?
Delicious.
Your body loves it because your body knows it's nourishing.
Now I even like the taste. So if there's white and the Kerala rice, I'll pick that.
Because it's got the taste of earth in it. There's an earthy flavor and aroma to it, right? As simple as that. When you start eating healthy, your good bacteria will become strong and they will start craving healthier foods.
Asking for the better version.
Instead of asking for chips and junk, it will ask for healthier foods. That's how you need to train your gut microbiome. So wheat is gone, white rice is gone, but we found the alternatives. Now, dairy. I discovered coconut milk. And I kid you not, it's like the best
Sweeter
discovery.
than plain milk.
Oh my God. Okay. Now, we all love mangoes, right? And mango season started. And because I'm vegan, I'm not going to have milk. When we were kids, we were given mango and a glass of milk maybe an hour or 2 hours later to balance the heat from the mango so that you don't get pimples and acne. So I love mangoes, and I was having 2 mangoes a day. I was pre-soaking them, but that wasn't enough. 2 zits came out and I was like, good Lord, I can't be having this, So I just told my chef, I said, let's do one thing. You've made coconut milk. You put 1 mango into a smoothie with the coconut milk so that it's like nice and slurpy. And you put the other mango on top of it. And we topped it off with some chia seeds. And, we put walnuts and almonds so that there's no sugar spike. Fruits, nuts, and coconut milk can be mixed. They're compatible. Because someone asked me, why mango and coconut milk? Coconut is a fruit. Mango is a fruit. They're compatible. Nuts come from the same family as fruits. They come from fruits. They're dried fruits. They can be mixed. I'm not kidding you. When I started having mangoes, I had zits and my stomach was inflamed. It was literally this big and I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I having a gut health issue? So it was not a gut health issue. It was so much heat trapped in my stomach that my body was expanding and it became this big. And the next morning, I had this coconut milk with mango and it went down like this. 2-3 inches gone in just one day. So, coconut milk is excellent because it's nourishing, it's madhur, sweet in taste. And in Ayurveda, sweet foods help in building damaged tissues, muscles, and nerves. It helps in repairing, rejuvenation. So, it's literally an antidote for all the diseases you have in the body.
And I think a perfect recipe for sweet cravings because it's absolutely healthy. There's chia seed, nuts, mango, and coconut milk. And it's going to taste sweet because coconut milk is sweet and mango is sweet. So
you still are enjoying your dessert, but not having a side effect from it. And it can become your main course also. Like, I could literally just live off fruits all day without having any, deficiencies in my body. People are like, oh, you're going to have this deficiency and that, vitamin B12 and vitamin D and omega. You get enough of it from plants. Where does a horse get all his protein from? Horses are one of the most majestic creatures. Where do cows, goats, and sheep get their vitamin D and B12 and omega-3 from? From plants. That's the first source. So you start looking for plant-based alternatives. There's coconut milk, almond milk, cashew milk if you're underweight, because it helps you put on weight. Macadamia nuts, of course, it's a little more expensive. Oat milk is something I'm not a big fan of because it's a lot of starch and sugar spike. Once in a while, your body can withstand it. Don't overdo that. I'm not a big fan of soya because soya is a rich source of glycogen and plant-based estrogen, which is not good for those who have an estrogen imbalance in the body and not good for those who have thyroid. Because of the glycogen in soya, it can impair it. Now, if you don't have these disorders, you can consume soya. But the problem in our country is soya is manufactured in a factory. Unlike Japan, where soya milk is made at home, tofu is made at home, ours is made in a factory. And the chemicals that they're introducing to make that soya milk is stripping away the natural nutrients and getting into our soya milk, into our tofu. And we're literally eating a cocktail of chemicals. So if you have an organic source, if you don't have PCOS, PCOD, thyroid, go ahead and have soya in moderation, but our bodies are not designed to digest soya, at least not our Indian bodies.
And I think that's another advantage of coconut milk. It's just so easy to make coconut milk from coconut at home.
Absolutely.
That you don't have to open a package for having your milk anymore.
And it has a better shelf life. You can keep the coconut milk in a glass jar in your fridge 4 to 5 days. It doesn't go bad.
I didn't know that.
It doesn't go bad. 3 to 4, 5 days, So it's not like you have to make it every day. Make it once a week and keep it in the fridge. Keep 2 options, almond milk, coconut milk. Almond milk is great for your smoothies and milkshakes, not with your fruit. Usually it's better to eat your fruit, but if you want to make a sattu shake for your protein, for your bodybuilding purpose, you can put 2 teaspoons sattu powder in 1 glass of water, boil it really well, bring it to half, add almond milk, again, good amount of protein, add some more nuts, turmeric, blend it and make a smoothie. So that's your protein shake that you're making at home without preservatives that comes in all those packaged protein.
So Dr. Dimple, let's talk about hormonal health, which applies for women, not just teenagers, but everybody.
Rule number 1 is elimination, which we spoke about, So you eliminate all the hormonal foods from your diet, which bring more hormones into your body. Like animals have estrogen, testosterone in the body. So you want to cut out animal-based foods completely. So that means you're going plant-based, okay? Vegan is a different word. Let's call it plant-based. You're going plant-based. Now, in plant-based foods also, you need to be careful of some foods, okay? For example, cabbage and cauliflower are usually not advisable if you have hormonal imbalances. They say, go easy on that. Soya is not advisable, right? Dates and peaches are also rich in estrogen, plant-based estrogen. So they say, go easy on that. You can do seed cycling if you have hormonal imbalance. So seeds will basically remind your body how to come back into cycle, how to come back into sync. And it'll also help in cleaning up the hormones. A great way of cleaning up your hormones is juicing some vegetables and drinking at empty stomach. There are some vegetables that can be juiced, not all. Okay, people do this mistake of juicing spinach and kale and they've ended up in the hospital with kidney stones. I'm not a big fan of that. You can juice some vegetables, ashgard. It's called your white pumpkin. You don't want to overdo this because over cleansing means you lose your good bacteria. Okay, so you do it for a few days, but not continuously. You alternate between other juices. Ashgard will help in eliminating undigested food that is sitting in your gut. It starts pushing it out. Okay, so you're clearing out constipation, incomplete evacuation of waste, and backed up poop that is sitting inside your body, which is a breeding ground for diseases. You want to get rid of that. Carrot and beetroot, excellent for hormonal health, right? Beetroot helps in producing more RBC immediately. It has betaine, which helps in regenerating liver cells. Your liver is the largest detoxifying organ of your body. Carrot will also help with that and soothing the
Can
body.
amla go in that juice?
Absolutely. That's my favorite combination because people are going gung-ho about ABC, apple, beetroot, carrot, and I'm not a fan of that. You don't mix fruits with vegetables. You eat them separately. Carrot, beetroot, and amla is great. Indian gooseberry. One Indian gooseberry is equal to 20 lemons. That's the amount of vitamin C that's in it. When your vitamin C intake goes up, your ability to absorb nutrients from the foods you're eating throughout the day goes up. When your vitamin D level goes up from sun exposure, your absorption of vitamin B12 from plant-based foods also goes up, leafy greens. So you can increase your intake of vitamin C through carrot, beetroot, and amla. Then you have celery to reduce the inflammation in your reproductive organs. Absolute amazing vegetable that is. Soak it in hot water with some baking soda and apple cider vinegar to get rid of all kinds of parasites and unhealthy bacteria, chemicals, and pesticides. You can put coriander, okay, great source of iron. You can put some cucumber for its cooling properties. It reduces pitta and fire imbalance. You can put some wheatgrass, great combination, okay. Then you have banana stem, magical, okay. Now, PCOS, PCOD girls, are often told, just lose weight, your PCOS will reverse. The poor girl has gained weight because she has PCOS. So you can't make it sound like it's her mistake all the time, right? You can give a banana stem juice that helps in cleansing the kidneys, the gallbladder. It's famous for dissolving kidney stones, gallbladder stones, and slimming of the body. You lose weight so quickly without losing energy. You're not getting fatigued, exhausted, or starved. So you can start with these basic juices in the morning, one juice at a time. Don't overdo everything. You'll end up having a diarrhea, right? And you do it under a doctor's, control so that, the doctor can monitor your symptoms and say, okay, you've overdone this. Let's switch to this. Then you can start doing seed cycling. First 15 days of your period cycle, if you have regular periods. If you have irregular periods, you follow the moon cycle. New moon to full moon to new moon, right? First 15 days, you'll have pumpkin and flax seeds. Now, pumpkin and flax seeds are a rich source of estrogen, but these are plant-based estrogen. So if you need to control your hormones, you need to make sure your estrogen levels are high and healthy from day 1 to day 14 up to ovulation. Once ovulation has started, up to your period begins, you will start focusing on your progesterone, which comes from sunflower and sesame seeds. Now, seed cycling was taught in Ayurveda, but now the Westerners have claimed it as their own, saying that they discovered it. But no, we had it written in the books, thousands of years ago. You can do this. However, if you're someone like me who's prone to fibroids, which is excess estrogen in the body, you don't do pumpkin and flax.
Okay.
You do it in moderation, okay? Because otherwise your fibroids will start growing because of excess estrogen in the body, good or bad. The body will not know the difference. It'll start collecting everything in the form of fibroids and tumors. So a lot of women nowadays have fibroids in the uterus and they're going for hysterectomy, removing the uterus, which is heartbreaking. If the fibroid is not causing problems to you, you don't have to get your uterus removed. Many women, unfortunately, who've got the uterus removed are dealing with a lot of side effects of it. They're going through a pre-induced menopause, loss of bone density, early onset of osteoporosis, arthritis, rheumatism, mood swings, irritability during their actual period cycle. So don't go that extreme and don't go this extreme also. So heed caution. So seed cycling is great. Lot of leafy greens because good source of iron, your hemoglobin levels will go up, blood supply will go up, and more blood supply towards the uterus. Fresh oxygenated blood will allow the uterus to repair itself. The uterus is a magical organ, mind you. It can create an entire human being, right? How magical or intelligent uterus is, it can create a human being right from eyes, nose, ears, mouth, distinct features, distinct personality, character, likes, dislikes. How does the body do that? If the uterus can create an entire human being, it can repair itself. You allow it the time and the nourishing foods to repair itself. You just have to provide the right fuel. Stay away from soya products because it's rich source of estrogen. Lots of fresh fruits, 2 bowls of fruits per day, 2 bowls of boiled vegetables per day, 1 bowl of soup, so that's 5 cups, 2 bowls of your millets and your porridge, lentils, grains, legumes, beans, pulses. That's 7 bowls of something throughout the day.
That's a lot of food.
Yeah. And people are like, am I starving? Absolutely not. You can have 3 meals a day, or you can have 2 meals a day, which is even more healthier. If you can get to 1 meal a day, bravo, you're a yogi. You've reached the highest level of consciousness already, okay? But aim for 3 meals a day, no snacking. Allow your gut to fully digest, absorb, assimilate, and push the waste towards the colon for elimination. Only when the upper tract, the stomach and the esophagus is completely clean, do you have the next meal. You don't put fresh food, let it mix with the undigested food, because then they'll start rotting, putrefying, and releasing gases. So focus on fixing your gut health if you want to fix your gynecological health.
Wow. I think that's a beautiful sentence. In the world of hormonal issues, let's deep dive on thyroid, because we discussed that's increasing at a really fast pace, and it's become so common. How can food, whether elimination or addition, contribute to thyroid?
So, my mother also has thyroid, and I've seen her almost reverse it. Not completely, almost. And I saw this young boy, Indy, reverse his thyroid. Of course, he's 13 years old. He's still in that building phase of his life where his body is supporting the process of recovery much better than it would in a senior citizen, right? So my mother was able to reverse her thyroid by doing one thing. This is not for everyone, okay? She does something called fasting. She eats on alternate days. One day she does upvas, no food, only boiled water between sunrise and sunset. And next day she breaks her fast at around, say, 8 o'clock. She eats what she wants throughout the day. At 6 o'clock, she stops eating. And she does Ratri Bhojan Tyag, which means no food after sunset. So she's eating for about 8 hours, fasting for 36 hours. This is not intermittent fasting. Okay, this is alternate day fasting, which a lot of Jains, a lot of Indians have been able to master. She did it for about a year without telling us. We were not even aware that she was fasting. She would pretend that she's eating food in front of us, but she wasn't. And later when we saw the results, we were impressed because her doctor brought her thyroid medicine from 100 mg to 25 mg. Now it's bare negligible. It's just maintenance to make sure that it doesn't come back. She doesn't need the medicine. And now she takes the medicine only on alternate days when she's eating food, right? So she also takes care of her health. If she's fatigued or exhausted, obviously no fasting on that day. You don't want to overdo anything. Not everybody can do this, fine. But if you have thyroid, keep your eating window for 8 hours between sunrise and sunset. Okay, lots of people are doing this mistake where they break their intermittent fasting at noon, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock sometimes, when the metabolic fire is already passed. The metabolic fire moves with the position of the sun. So when the sun is rising, your metabolic fire is rising. When the sun is at the peak, your metabolic fire is at the peak. When the sun is setting, your metabolic fire is also setting. People have done this mistake of skipping breakfast and lunch and going straight away to a meal at 3 o'clock and then a big, lavish 9-course dinner with their friends and society and break, eating till 10, 11 in the night. Of course, you're going to wake up with cardiac arrest. It has been linked with cardiac arrest, wrong intermittent fasting. The original authentic way of intermittent fasting is eat between sunrise and sunset. So if you have thyroid, the first thing you correct is your circadian rhythm and your eating cycles. You need to eat at the right time because thyroid weakens your metabolism and your digestive health. And it also determines how you use your energy. So obviously you're getting fatigued and you're having body aches and pain, hair loss, weak skin, and also mood swings and brain fog. So fix your circadian rhythm. Rise with the sun, set with the sun. Wake up 45 minutes before sunrise. Your faculties are very sharp between 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., which is called the Vata clock in Ayurveda. Number 2, elimination. Eliminate all the foods that are triggering the thyroid. Animal-based foods, meat, seafood, eggs and dairies out. Wheat, white rice is out. Soya's out. Addition. What do you bring? You can have some amount of millets. You don't eat bajra and jawar. Okay, those 2 millets are not advisable for thyroid. The other millets like ragi, amaranth, sama rice can be eaten. They're healthy. You can have red rice, brown rice, black rice. You can have all vegetables except the cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, because the cruciferous vegetables are also rich in nitrogen, which irritates your thyroid. So you don't want to eat that. But if you eat it in a cooked form once in a while, your body can withstand it. So you're still getting your nutrition without triggering your thyroid. Coconut milk is an excellent remedy for thyroid again. Just the same for PCOS, PCOD. I've seen people tell me that their skin, hair, digestion, their moods, their confidence has gone up after they started. You can make a coconut buttermilk, excellent recipe. Take fresh coconut milk or even the one that you've refrigerated for 3-5 days, but make sure it's made at home. Just add some grated cucumber. It's cooling, hydrating, diuretic. Add a pinch of salt, some jeera, carminative, which is your cumin seeds, and you can put coriander. You can even put a ghee ka tadka, which you put in your regular buttermilk. It's the most delicious thing you would ever drink.
Wow.
Have 1 glass of it
This
every day.
is
if you have
something I'm
thyroid.
hearing for the first time. Can't wait to try it.
Oh, my patients love it. They swear by it. And I love it. And we put it in a flask. You can put an ice cube in it so that it doesn't get khatta or sour by the time you have lunch. Have 1 glass of this every day. Increase your intake of fruits again. Okay. You're not going to put on weight from fruits. Okay. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions and fear around fruits, that there's sucrose and fructose. Of course there is. These are your natural sweeteners. Cut out your white sugar instead. Okay, which is weakening your brain, and it's literally like narcotics. It has the same addiction or addictive effect on your body that narcotics or drugs has. So cut out your white sugar completely. You need iodized salt. Okay, so make sure you get iodized salt from a good, reliable source. You can have pink salt, rock salt, Himalayan salt also. You can have jaggery. You can have date syrup. You can have maple syrup if it's organic. You can have a lot of nuts and seeds, a handful, when I say a lot, pre-soaked overnight. Increase your intake of protein, but not beyond 33% of your diet. 33% protein, 33% carbs. Your brain runs on carbs. 33% vegetables, fiber, to take the protein and carbs down. Okay? So it has to be in equal portions. If you do that one little thing, circadian rhythm, deletion of the foods that are triggering thyroid, and addition of foods that support the recovery process, you're sorted.
Wow. So simple, right? And what you said is not fundamentally different from stuff that everyone should do. We all need to sort of sleep on time, sleep properly, not eat too much. So what you are asking us to just is be healthy, and some of these diseases will start reversing. But it's amazing how addition and removal of certain things, and that's what I was started with, right? I don't think we are understanding the power of food and utilizing it as medicine. I know it's tough, like you said, to follow. Your mother did a phenomenal job by alternate fasting, but that's how powerful it is. And with something like thyroid, there is no medication in allopathy that can actually help you beyond just management of that thyroid. For her body to sort of come down from 100 to 25 dosage can only happen through something which is beyond allopathy.
Oh, that's self-discipline, rigorous dietary control, and winning over your senses. Stop eating for your tongue. Stop eating for your taste buds. Start eating for your gut health. Start eating what feeds the good bacteria. Now, for my mother at the age of 60 to reverse her thyroid to this level was a huge accomplishment, okay? My father dissolved his gallbladder stones by just taking, certain medicines that we gave him, hibiscus powder and others, and he was able to avoid a surgery. I was able to avoid my 5th surgery. The point is, don't wait to get sick. Learn from the struggles of others. Now, I shared my story of misery openly. I didn't want to share it in the book, but, my editor was like, you need to put in your story, because only then people will understand why you went from investment banking to Ayurveda or preventive healthcare. Learn from other people's miseries and struggles, right? Someone is suffering, help that person reduce the suffering, but also make sure that you do not create a situation of that disease coming to you. Don't wait to get sick. Prevention is better than cure. We've learned it in kindergarten. We didn't understand the value of that sentence. Now I say it so often. I'd rather pay a doctor who helps me prevent diseases and keeps it at the bay than wait to get sick and go to him. So that should be the kind of nation we should be building, a nation of preventive healthcare providers.
Makes complete sense. Dr. Dimple, we at Traya have a gut range because we understand how much gut impacts hair. But would love, this is something new. People have not heard about, hey, I'm coming here for hair loss, and they get surprised, hey, we're being treated for bloating and absorption and constipation. We just need a hair product. Give us a shampoo and a conditioner and a mask. I want you to explain, how is gut related to hair and skin? And why does it show up when somebody's gut health is messed up on their skin and hair?
So, the gut is probably something we did not realize the importance of a few years ago. Like when I was in college, when I was in school, biology, we learned stomach, small, large intestine, gallbladder, liver, pancreas. We learned of these organs in isolation. We didn't understand the holistic role they played. Okay. Uh, the gut is the fuel engine of your body. Your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, colon, all of them contribute to the digestion, absorption, assimilation, and elimination process. Your liver, gallbladder, pancreas also contribute to the digestion process. Scientists say this is the largest set of organs together, collectively, right? It's the largest set of organs that do one specific role, which is nourishing your body. If your fuel engine is damaged, ruptured, leaking, how is a car going to function? How is the vehicle going to run, right? The fuel engine is everything. It's the beginning of it. Your gut provides nutrition for your heart, liver, kidney, intestine, brain, gallbladder, liver, colon, skin, hair, everything. When the gut is compromised, when it is leaking not just the nutrients, but even the undigested food, heavy metals, toxins into the bloodstream, the body goes into an autoimmune response because something is leaking into the blood. The body doesn't know the difference between the nutrients that are leaking and the undigested food and heavy metals and toxins. That's called leaky gut syndrome. The body starts attacking its own cells. That's what happens in autoimmune disorders also. Your body's immunity starts attacking itself. Why is your body's immunity attacking itself? Because it's trying to protect you from some invader, but in the process is also attacking the good cells. So that leaves your body with very little nutrition now. You've had 1,000 calories of food, you've barely absorbed 40% of the nutrition. Maybe 30-40% got leaked, or got mixed with undigested food, and maybe 20% got eliminated. So you're now having colon health issues like constipation, diarrhea, or incomplete evacuation of waste, IBS. There's irritability in your colon at all times. Your gut intestine permeability has gone up. So gut is basically cells held tightly together in a conjunction. The cells have become loose, and now lots of things are leaking into the bloodstream. Your body then goes into a survival mechanism. It tightens its shoelaces, saying, okay, we only have 40% of the nutrition that we would have otherwise had. Now I will save it for the brain, heart, liver, kidney to keep you alive. The brain's like, this person is stupid. I have to do something now to keep this person alive. The skin and hair is the last to receive nutrition in this line. Even for the body, skin and hair is vanity. So the first thing that happens when your gut health is compromised, your hair will start falling out. Lack of protein, lack of iron in your body, lack of RBC, good blood cells, that gets compromised. Now your skin, your facial skin especially, corresponds to different organs in your body. It's called face mapping in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, also in Ayurveda. They will look at your face and they'll tell you which organ of yours is suffering. You see someone with dark circles, excessively. Sometimes I had it too. Dehydration and kidneys asking for attention. Okay. Your temples, and here, the middle between your brows. If you have pimples or discoloration or pigmentation, it's your liver asking for help.
I was going to guess that.
Right? Your nose, the tip of your nose and the upper lip corresponds to your heart health. So my dad used to keep getting a big pimple at the tip of his nose every year at least once. It was so big that he wouldn't go out of the house. A few years later, he had his heart health issues and open heart surgery and all. And I read this thing in Chinese medicine and I was like, oh, so it wasn't a coincidence that he had great skin, but always the tip of his nose had some, pimple and acne. The lower part of your face, which is your chin area, corresponds to your gynecological health. So women who have a lot of pimples, acne, hair growth, hirsutism, they generally have gynecological health issues. The top part of your cheeks corresponds to your stomach, the lower part to your lungs, or I think it's vice versa. So if your lungs and stomach are not clean, you'll get pimples and acne here. So when you meet your grandmother and you have pimples and acne, what's the first thing she says? Pet saaf nahi hota hai. She says your stomach is not clean. In the beginning, we feel offended. Why would you say that to me? Body positivity and stuff like that. Well, all that goes into the trash. Body positivity means taking care of your body first and fixing the things that you can fix. And unless you're born with some disorders, which is unfortunate, right? So your face is indicating which organ is requiring attention to detoxify. So that organ probably has collected some toxins and it's signaling to you. The body is constantly communicating with you. Your leaky gut syndrome leads to hair loss. Your hair loss and your damaged skin is asking you to detoxify the body and fix your gut health. So there's a magical communication happening between your brain and your gut, your skin and your hair, you have to pay attention to these signs and start fixing it.
I mean, I knew there was a connection, but with the face mapping, you just sort of brought a deeper connection to how deeply our skin and hair are related to our gut health. Another piece that I want to understand, Dr. Dimple, is this whole piece of infertility, especially with women from good backgrounds, like upper middle class, rich families. Everybody is going for an IVF. People are not able to easily conceive. People are not able to easily deliver naturally. People are having breastfeeding problems. None of this existed a generation ago. Um, is there anything that we can do with our food, or rather teach younger women? One, of course, is not to sort of delay this as much as we do, unfortunately. But what can we do in our food to sort of improve our fertility?
We have these magic herbs. These are the poster childs of Ayurveda. Like you have ashwagandha, shatavari. Everybody knows about it now. Thanks to some of the Western manufacturers who picked it up. It's become the golden child of Western manufacturers now. Ashwagandha gives strength to your body. It's an adaptogenic herb. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. All herbs have anti-inflammatory properties. It improves your sleep cycle. It improves your body strength. Ashwa means horse. Gandha means smell. It's a smell of the horse. It makes you as strong as a horse. In men, it improves fertility and virility. In women, also it improves strength. Then you have shatavari, which is great for women. And for men, it's given rarely when they have pitta imbalance. Shatavari, again, is a great herb that improves fertility and corrects gynecological disorders, irregular period cycles. When irregular period cycles are corrected, and you have your period cycle every 28 days, not one day early, not one day late, okay? If you have irregular period cycle more than twice or thrice, then you have to go meet your gynecologist. Cut out all the high estrogen-based foods, cut out all your packaged processed foods that are interfering with your hormonal glands, your endocrine glands, right? Your packaged preservative-based foods are the biggest cause, along with your compromised dairy from the factories, are the biggest cause for gynecological disorders. Secondly, a lot of women have started, unfortunately, abusing their body by inserting all sorts of things. Okay? I'm not a big fan of tampons. Of course, they have a certain amount of plastic in it. Of course, they have a certain amount of chemicals in it that absorbs, the menstrual blood. It's not always organic. I mean, we're fooling ourselves by thinking that they're going to be 100% organic. No, they're not. Tampons, it leaves a little residue inside. It's better to, back in the day, we used cloth. And I remember being introduced to cloth during my first cycle. They said, first you begin with this, and then you get introduced to sanitary napkins. Sanitary napkins have now been linked with uterine cancer because they have a huge amount of chemicals in them. First, start buying organic sanitary napkins that can be decomposed easily and causes no damage to the environment. Some people have started using menstrual cups. Fine if you're comfortable with it. Ayurveda doesn't recommend it because it disturbs the apan vata, the downward flowing energy when you insert something. Okay. Birth control pills. Why do you have to have it? When you can have, of course, there is another science that says, we shouldn't have frequent pregnancies because it's going to affect your health and, we need to control the population and all that. But when you have other external remedies, birth control pill comes with a price. It comes at a cost, 10% increase in risk of stroke and heart attack. First, you have taken over the hormonal cycle of your body through an external product, an artificial science. Artificial intelligence. You've replaced your natural intuitive intelligence with an artificial intelligence. So this has stopped working because it says there's no need for me. Now this artificial intelligence, this consumption of birth control pills during those 28-day cycle is now going to tell me on a daily basis what to do, what not to do, what to do, what not to do. You're now in a cage. The minute you stop this doesn't know how to work anymore. Have you seen rescued animals from circuses who were living all their life in a cage? Even after they were put in the wild, they kept running in a circle. That's the kind of trauma it costs them. So when you are having artificial intelligence control your intelligent uterus, it's one of the most intelligent organs in your body, you're destroying the intuitive intelligence to heal and repair. Okay? So stop trying to control your uterus. And, there are also other practices which I'm not a big fan of. Nowadays, sexual life has started becoming far more important and bigger in a relationship than communication and understanding. There's no calendar. Back in the day, women did not have intimacy during the period cycle because there is a downward flowing energy. You don't want to obstruct it with an upward flowing energy. It confuses the uterus. And there are some doctors, Ayurvedic doctors, who actually explained how it can trigger endometriosis and cysts. Now, there is no complete research on it. Okay, so before people jump on this saying that what's the research, what's the proof, do your own research, find your own proof and evidence, do what works for you. But please know that you cannot contradict the nature of your body and artificially control it from outside through these medicines and instruments and whatnot. And stop having chemical-based products near your intimate areas. Nowadays, people are having a lot of products being sold in the market to make you, smell fresh and this and that. There's no need for it. The uterus is a natural cleansing organ. It can cleanse itself. There are certain other ingredients available in Ayurveda, like, Dhanvantram Thailam or coconut oil, which is sometimes introduced into the uterus to prevent dryness, roughness, and vata imbalance. That is done under the doctor's directions. So don't introduce chemicals inside your body. That's the first step to prevent infertility. And start doing a Panchkarma treatment if you can. It pulls 99% of toxins out of your body. Your colon gets clean, your gut gets clean, and the uterus, which is a neighborhood gossip auntie to the colon, they love to share gossip and toxins. They're literally sitting next to each other. If your colon is clean, your uterus will also be able to cleanse itself. But if the colon is toxic, full of undigested waste, it will leak and the uterus will also absorb. There's no concrete wall between them. They will absorb toxins from each other.
How often would you recommend someone to go through Panchkarma?
If you're someone who's above the age of 30, for kids, obviously, we don't recommend most Panchakarma treatments except Abhyangam, Shiro Abhyangam, head massage, or Shiro Pichu. For adults, nowadays, I recommend that after the age of 30, you must do it at least once a year, even if you're healthy, because Panchakarma can be done only when you're healthy. If you have cold, cough, sinus, fever, we can't do Panchakarma. If you have piles and fissures and hemorrhoids, we can't do Panchakarma. Too late in the game. Then you have to go for surgeries, right? If you're healthy, you can do a Panchakarma once a year to cleanse your body of toxins. Unfortunately, the world we live in, it's called Kalyug. The air is contaminated, the water is contaminated, even your organic food will be contaminated because the soil is contaminated. And the foods are coming packaged in some form of plastic or the other, which is entering our bloodstream. So you're at least eliminating what you've introduced into the body on a yearly basis. It's like taking the trash out. We do Diwali cleaning for the house, do a cleaning for your body also once a year. And that itself takes care of your fertility. So I've had 3 patients. I've seen this with my own sister and 2 other patients. This one was from Australia. Multiple IVFs failed for her. And she did a 28-day Panchakarma cleanse, which included diet and some days of treatments and some days of rest and everything. In a year, she conceived naturally. She just took the stress off her. Stress also contributes to infertility.
Yeah, I think that's another piece that we should definitely talk about.
And unfortunately, women are pitted against men in competition. There's no reason for us to be pitted against each other in competition in boardrooms and corporate world, There's a lot of inequality. So women are having to work twice as harder to prove themselves, to be heard, to be seen. And in that process, our testosterone levels are going up. Our cortisol levels are going up. And that also impacts your fertility, right? And people who are like aggressive in their careers, they're coming and saying, why am I having this hair growth? I said, maybe go check your testosterone. And suddenly that's high. Stress contributes dramatically to infertility. The minute you take stress off your relationship to produce a child, it's not the end of the world. Okay, I don't have a child. I'm 40. No big deal. If I have one, great. If I don't, fine. The world has enough children, right? Take the stress out of that equation, out of that relationship, out of your life, your physical body, mental and emotional body. You will be able to conceive after you've corrected your diet and lifestyle.
I think very beautifully put up. we've spoken about good sleep, food, definitely, most of this hour. Sleep is stress is another piece that sort of impacts all these diseases. Um, Gut health is deeply related to mental health. In fact, I was going through your book. Your book reads Heal Your Gut, Mind, and Emotions. Right? I really like how you put the three in one sentence. Tell us more about how is gut related to mind and emotions, how are the two interrelated and how the two impact each other, and how does sort of one cut this vicious cycle of, hey, I have stress, so my gut is poor, so I have, I'm weak emotionally, I don't have control over my mind, and sort of get out of this downward spiral in life.
Your gut is not just the fuel engine of your body. Your gut is literally in the driver's seat. It also controls your mental and emotional health, okay? Scientists call it the second brain. Some scientists say that the gut is the biggest brain of the body. Why so? The gut has more neurons lining its walls than there are neurons in the brain. Now, what are neurons? Neurons allow you to experience, to feel, to touch, to communicate within your own body, between your organs, right? Your neurons are the messengers of your body. They allow you to experience and remember things and memorize things. Now, these neurons fire together to allow you to have a flashback of memories also, right? There are more neurons lining your gut walls. Your emotions are stored and created in the gut, not in the heart, not in the brain. The brain doesn't have time for such trivial things. The brain has no time for feelings. The gut is the mother here. When you feel anxious, scared, excited, happy, nervous, butterflies fluttering in the stomach, where do you feel it? You feel it in the gut. You feel the runs to the bathroom when you're nervous. If your gut is happy, you're able to focus on a meeting. If my gut was not happy right now, if it was hungry, if it was feeling acidic, God forbid if I had bloating or gas or flatulence or indigestion or diarrhea or IBS or constipation, will I be able to focus? I'm literally putting myself, in everybody's mind to imagine. No, I'll be constantly thinking about, when do I get out of here? That's what happens to us even in the best of the meetings. Your gut is directly connected to your brain through a neurosis that sends messages every micromillion second. So by the time I clicked my fingers, at least 10, 20, 30, 40, or maybe 100 messages went to my brain. The gut and brain are directly communicating with each other constantly like husband and wife. Okay? If that communication is broken between the husband and wife, the whole family suffers, the whole body suffers. Okay? The vagus nerve is one of the biggest nerves, right? That is communicating. Now, the gut is sending messages to the brain saying, hey, I ate this kind of a food right now. What should I do? How much digestive juice should I produce? How much acid, stomach acid? How much bile? The brain then communicates back to the gut saying, hey, this much and that much. They're constantly communicating important decisions of this household, financial decisions, food decisions, nourishment decisions. Everything is communicated with these two. If this connection becomes weak, if the gut becomes unhealthy, the gut sends distress signals to the brain. Imagine you're sitting in a business meeting and your husband calls you 15 times in that 1 hour. Will you be able to focus on the meeting? You'll get snappy and irritable at him. Vice versa, will your husband like it if you call him 15 times? The same thing with the gut and the brain. If they keep interfering with each other, not letting the other do its job, it is going to cause disease, disconnect, conflict, okay, discomfort. That's what disease is. Disease literally means dis-ease, not at ease. How do you fix this? You need to make sure your vagus nerve is strong, your communication between the brain and gut is strong. You can do yoga, you can do pranayam, you can do controlled breathing exercises in the morning, meditation, chanting, journaling, gratitude exercise, and then manifest what you want. Don't manifest until then, because you'll end up manifesting rubbish things for yourself otherwise, right? So if you do these little things, your gut can contribute to your mental health and your gut microbiome. There are trillions of bacteria in your gut, okay? 85% good and 15% bad. Your gut flora impacts your mental, emotional health directly. The good bacteria will give you good emotions. The bad bacteria will give you bad emotions like jealousy, envy, anger, negativity, and such, okay? You need to feed your good bacteria with good foods. Your bad bacteria will ask for junk foods and unhealthy foods. Don't feed it. You don't need to strengthen them. The minute your gut bacteria is taken care of, your gut health is taken care of, your brain will be taken care of, your mental and emotional health will be taken care of. It's such a direct train to good health.
Wow.
And holistic health, if I might say.
Yeah, I think that word makes complete sense here. I think I would just sort of want to end this beautiful, enriching chat with this one thought, or question rather. Dr. Dimple, what do you think is the importance of attitude and thoughts when it comes to healing your body? Because I heard some flavors to, um, let's say I'm eating healthy and I am exercising and I'm sourcing my vegetables, um, but if I am just negative, right, would really like to understand sort of what do you believe in, and how do you sort of set this right with your patients when they come
Hmm.
in.
I've had a few patients like this, and I would say I was my own patient too, in this matter. I had a few patients, who didn't have any disease, but just a few gut health issues like bloating or acidity or burning sensation. They had gut health issues, but they didn't have any major disease. And they went on and on and on complaining. And I was listening also. And I said, okay, stop. Like, why? I said, you're overthinking, over analyzing, over dissecting everything. Your GI tract is sensitive to emotions. You are constantly creating trauma and worry here, which is feeding your gut, and then your gut is not able to digest the food. As simple as that. Put your phone away, switch off your television, close your laptop, use your hands to eat your food, inhale, exhale, calm your senses down. Smell the food, taste it, chew it 32 times. God gave you 32 teeth for a reason. Don't drink your food, eat your food. And use that time to build a relationship between your food, your nutrition, and you. Just like how you spend date nights to build a relationship with your partner. Can you spend 3 times a day to build a relationship with your food? That will help you. Okay. And second thing is, I'm a deeply spiritual person. Okay. So how deep depends, from person to person and definition to definition. We don't have to look spiritual. A few days ago, I was not feeling 100%. I was like, something is missing. Something is missing. I'm eating clean. I'm going to work. Some of my interviews went viral. We're getting a lot of praise. And we're also getting, some criticism. It's, bricks and bats. So I said, why am I not feeling happy? And the book became a national bestseller in 3.5 months. I should be celebrating. Nope. I didn't want to celebrate. I was in a foul mood. I said, I don't want to. I don't feel good. I'm not even announcing this. I'm not even sharing it with family and friends. And I was like, something is missing. Then I said, okay, time to put our ego aside that we control everything. We do not control everything. There's a higher power that decides what is going to happen in your life. You're trying to be a control freak, deciding which direction your life,
Planning
your career,
everything.
your relationship should go, and how your children should behave. I'm sorry, they're not cattle for you to control. And your partner is also not, some kind of an animal for you to control. He's not a domestic pet, or she's not a domestic pet. Stop trying to control even your own career. I said, okay, time to let go of that control. Control comes from ego. Ego comes from believing that I can do anything and everything, and I'm in the driver's seat. You're not in the driver's seat. We understood gut health, but there's also a higher power. So I set an alarm. For a month, I struggled, and then I went back to my magical 4 a.m. alarm. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I sit on my couch for 15 minutes, maybe, complaining that why did I have to wake up today? And then I freshen up, wear my white clothes, go back to my meditation room. I have a designated room in my house that is for meditation, chanting, prayer, reading, and creating some content. Nothing else happens in that room. So I go to that room, I light a diya, I sit in that same spot, on that same asan, that same red color asan with the same set of books. My world is now limited to that 1 by 1 square feet. I have no communication with the outside world. I have nothing to give and take. I'm not in a state of transaction anymore. All day long, we're in a state of transaction. You're asking, I'm answering. I'm giving, you're reacting. You're giving money, someone's giving you something in return. On a daily basis, with the world, with your own partner, children, and parents, you're in a state of transaction, giving and taking. For that 2 hours, 3 hours, if I get lucky, 4 to 7, I'm in a state of zero transaction or shunya, where my world is limited only to those things in that 1 by 1 square foot. And I meditate, chant, read shlokas, whatever makes sense to you. Doesn't matter even if you're an atheist. Just sit and journal. Read a book that makes sense to you. But sit in that spot and don't get up no matter what. That aligns your chakras, sharpens your faculties, takes the trash out from here. There's a lot of trash here. Get the trash out. Clean the board here. Have a plain white board. And then write what you're grateful for. Because when you're grateful, you are vibrating at the highest frequency, which is 540 MHz. Only love and gratitude can do that to your body. And maybe not all of us are lucky to, fall in love or meet someone. That's fine. You can learn how to love yourself by expressing gratitude. And then you manifest. You cannot manifest unless you've cleaned out the trash, expressed gratitude, and tuned into the highest vibrational frequency. And then you manifest. How? You're the co-creator of this universe. God is not waiting there to fulfill your wishes. God has better things to do. There are 8 billion people. Of course, some of us get lucky and we want to be grateful to God saying that he or she helped me achieve this. But you are the co-creator of this universe. So what you're vibrating is what you're receiving. If you're vibrating negativity, don't be surprised that your body is showing signs of negativity. If you're vibrating positive thoughts, don't be surprised if you get lucky twice, thrice in a day.
I'm so glad I asked that question.
I'm so glad you asked.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dimple. This was a fantastic chat. And I think we've moved to the last segment. We have received some questions that we have for you, and I would like to share. Let's go to the first question. Hello, ma'am. Whenever I have apples, I end up getting bloated and gassy. Can a fruit make you bloated? If yes, are there any other fruits I need to avoid?
So that's actually true. Fruits can also give you bloating, burping, belching. Apple is an astringent fruit. Okay, so if you're a Vata Prakriti with a dry, rough constitution, apple can be constipating as well. Peel the apple, dice it, put it in some water, cook it on low flame, and you can add a pinch of cinnamon, clove, pepper, and have this bowl of stewed apples. You'll never have burping or bloating or belching or constipation. And there are other fruits also, like melons can sometimes be dehydrating because they're diuretic in nature, so they can make you release a lot of water. So watermelon, you can put a pinch of black pepper and pink salt so that your body holds the moisture. Muskmelon, we usually put sugar in it to prevent burps. And I thought it was just grandmother's fable or story, but it actually worked. When I had muskmelon on its own, it was a little weird to digest. But when I put some sugar crystals, organic sugar, it automatically soothed my stomach. So these are some little hacks you can take from the kitchen.
Interesting. As the rainy season is coming up, I'm worried about my child. He's 9 years old, has tonsils, which leads him to having fever in rainy season. Are there any tips and tricks to improve immunity of growing children?
So, tonsils is part of your immune system. And unfortunately, my parents, under the fear, got mine and my sister's tonsils removed. And we wish we hadn't, because what the tonsils do is they create a guard, a ring guard in your throat and prevent harmful bacteria and virus from entering. They get tackled here. So fever, cold, cough is a sign of the body fighting off those bacteria and virus. So you don't need to suppress it. You don't need to remove the tonsils. You instead give foods to support the recovery process. You can give 1 teaspoon honey, half teaspoon grated ginger, pinch of pepper, pinch of turmeric, pinch of cinnamon in the raw form. Let the child swish it around, get it mixed with the saliva enzymes in the mouth and swallow it. This will take all the mucus and the unhealthy bacteria down and out of the system. Honey has antibacterial properties, so it kills the unhealthy bacteria. It is also great for your gut flora, by the way. Then you can also give your child a kada. Kada can be made with tulsi, basil leaves. It's one of the best remedies, So you can again boil tulsi with some cinnamon, clove, grated ginger, whole pepper, some star anise. Boil it, bring it down to half and let the child drink it. Don't put honey in hot kadas. It turns toxic. Honey should be eaten as a medicine separately. It can be mixed in fluids below 42 degrees Celsius. It should not be cooked, right? So that's another thing that you can do for your child. And of course, keep them away from sugary treats. Sugar feeds the unhealthy bacteria, the infections, the fever, the cold, cough, and inflames the tonsils. So had my parents just taken me off sugar, we wouldn't have ended up getting our tonsils removed.
Hello, my name is Pranay. I have problems falling asleep at night. Even if I'm in bed by 11, I'm not able to sleep till 2 to 3 at night. And it's affecting my work and overall life. Can you please suggest some remedy for this?
Okay, number one, wake up early even if you slept less. Wake up at 6 o'clock because you slept at 2, 3. Get out of your bed, get on the yoga mat, do some yoga, pranayam, because your id and pingla are not balanced. Your left and right has to get balanced. Hot and cold has to get balanced in your body. Your circulatory system, your vata has to get balanced. Vata causes sleep issues, anxiety, and irritability as well. After you've done your yoga, why don't you lie down on the mat, not on the bed, and do 20 minutes of yoga nidra, which puts you into a state of pseudo sleep, where you are actually awake but completely asleep. Your organs are resting, and that deep sleep is equal to 3-4 hours of sleep. So I did this yoga nidra 2 days ago because I started waking up at 4, and I realized that if I was sleeping at 10 or 10:30 or 11, maybe I'm having 1 hour less sleep every day, which is leading to dead sleep. Dead sleep means accumulated negative sleep. You haven't slept enough. So 20 minutes of yoga nidra, and I in fact did it till 60 minutes. It completely refreshed me. So you can do yoga nidra in the morning. And make sure you have a small breakfast, big lunch, and small dinner before sunset. Do not eat after sunset. And 9 o'clock sharp, you switch off the lights in your house and all the electronics. Do not touch your mobile phone, laptops. It is emitting blue light, which messes up with your melatonin, a hormone that is produced in response to darkness and light. Melatonin allows you to fall asleep. Lots of people are artificially consuming melatonin now. You don't have to do that. Switch off your lights and keep just maybe a reading light, one little lamp, and read a book. No matter how interesting the book is, you'll fall asleep. Okay? So the trick is to wake up early, once, twice, thrice, and in 21 days, you can fix the cycle. And you can also take half glass water, a pinch of nutmeg, which is called jaifal, boil it really well, add some milk, turmeric, and a drop of ghee, and drink it at bedtime. It'll knock you out like a baby elephant.
I think the toughest or the biggest mistake that people do, which is what you answered for, are devices.
Oh, God.
People switch on their television at 9 p.m. saying, hey, this is me time and I'm going to watch something before I fall asleep. That's exactly the opposite of what they should be doing.
Absolutely. Me time should be where you're sitting and listening to your body, not to somebody else controlling your thoughts. You're feeding content and your brain is overwired and it's going to be active the whole night. Me time should be you consciously switching off your body one at a time. Me time for me is reading a book. Me time for me is sitting on my bed and staring at the skyline, or meditating, or doing pranayam. That's me time. You and the device is not me time. Okay, and we're literally getting sucked into our mobile phones, into the television set. It's called the idiot box for a reason, right? You're giving your life to expand its lifespan. So social media, by the way, has grown from the number of hours we've given it. So the lifespan of social media has exceeded human life.
Hello, doctor. I've recently started self-practicing intermittent fasting. However, I need coffee in the morning and not having coffee is actually making me less active. Is it okay if I have coffee in the morning while practicing my intermittent fasting?
So coffee obviously breaks your intermittent fasting, number one. Number two, coffee is a dehydrating drink that dries up your small, large intestine and colon, strips away the good bacteria. Although there is a ton of research on the internet that says coffee is good for health, who profits from that research? Who funds that research? Try to think about it logically. Coffee is the most expensive commodity in the food world. So obviously someone's profiting from that research because of the sale of coffee going up. You don't have to live by that. Caffeine withdrawal is real. People not being able to function without coffee is real. Causing anxiety it's real, right? Instead of having coffee on an empty stomach, you will wake up early in the morning, have 200 ml of warm water with 1 teaspoon ghee to repair the GI tract from all the damages of caffeine. And then you can have a vegetable juice from the list that I've given. No, not all vegetables should be juiced. And you can have some fruits and nuts. And after that, if you still feel the need for coffee, you take a glass of water, add cinnamon, clove, grated ginger, pepper, star anise, boil it well. These are the masala that we put in the masala chai. They have a lot of health benefits. And then put a little bit of caffeine. Instead of 1 teaspoon, reduce it to 3/4 and then bring it down to half slowly. And then make sure to add some almond milk or coconut milk, which is good fat. You need that fat. And some ghee again. Okay? It can be plant-based or it can be, cruelty-free cow's ghee. That coffee will not affect your gut. Eventually, you'll wean off coffee because you'll start absorbing nutrition from the foods you've eaten and improving your energy levels versus the caffeine jump-starting your nervous system.
I eat oats daily for breakfast with seeds and some nuts and salad for lunch, but still I feel constipated. Can you please tell me where am I going wrong?
So nuts and seeds is dry. It has a long shelf life, right? So what do we do with foods that have long shelf life? Pre-soak it overnight, number one. Consume your nuts only in the morning, not in the evenings. It's not a snack. 7 almonds is enough. 5 to 7, 9. If you're an athlete, you can go up to 11 to 20. But you don't want to overdo it because it's a rich source of oxalate again, which can, cause kidney stones. So you need to have moderate amount of nuts, just a handful. 5 almonds, maybe 1 walnut or Brazil nut. Okay. 1 date pre-soaked overnight. 2 prunes, otherwise, instead of date. And 5 black raisins soaked overnight. So you have some of these, not all. So you can have maybe 2 prunes, 5 almonds, and 5 black raisins soaked overnight. Have it in the morning with your fruits. Have your seeds with your lunch, with your salad, so that you can chew it well. When I say salad, it's boiled vegetables. It's not raw salad. And don't have any of this post-sunset because they take a lot of time to digest.
Does raw salad cause constipation? So you prefer boiled over raw because you mentioned.
Yeah, so raw salad does not necessarily cause constipation, but it does something else. Raw salads increases vata imbalance in the body because of the dryness and roughness. Of course, it is a good source of fiber. So people who eat a lot of meat desire to start eating raw salads to aid the downward movement of the food and waste. But you don't need to go extremes with both meat and raw salads, okay? If you have boiled vegetables, you will still get the fiber, okay? Some amount of nutrition may be destroyed in the cooking process, but you're not cooking it, you're boiling it, okay? So you're still retaining the water in which the nutrients have been released. Some salt, pepper, rosemary, basil, thyme, some lemon juice to it. All of this aids the downward movement. So you're still getting the fiber without the dryness and roughness, which can irritate the gut walls for some people, strip away the mucosa, which is a good lining. And for some people, it also causes irritable bowel syndrome and bloating. In fact, it causes bloating for a majority of people because plants don't want to be eaten. So when you eat them alive, they release gases inside the body as a defense mechanism. They want to kill you, right? There's a book written on it, Plants Want to Kill You. It's true. So you cook it and eat a sattvic meal.
Hello, ma'am. I'm trying to get into fasting, but I keep getting hungry and become angry if I don't eat for a long time. I also have hypothyroidism. How should I fast?
Okay, don't try fasting. If you're hungry, your body wants food, your body wants nutrition. Listen to your body first. Instead of fasting, have some discipline. No snacking in between meals, no matter what. 3 meals a day, that's it. You have your breakfast at 9, you have your big lunch at 1, and you have your dinner at 6. No snacking, no matter what. At bedtime, if you're hungry, have dates, prunes, makana, almond milk, coconut milk with some haldi. You're sorted, okay? But strictly no snacking. That's one thing. And don't eat food after sunset. Solid foods should be avoided after sunset. If you do these 2 things, you're sorted. You don't have to do intermittent fasting or alternate day fasting. And then you can slowly progress into something called fruit fasting, which is excellent, where you eat only fruits and nuts for the whole day and you break your fast at 5 o'clock in the evening with some moong dal dosa or moong dal khichdi, good, portion of carbs and proteins. That's a great way to start. So you don't aggravate your pitta imbalance and thus cause headaches and irritability and anger.
Hello, ma'am. I'm trying to go vegan for my health reasons, but I'm confused about the different types of milk available. What kind of plant-based milk do you recommend? We've discussed this.
Yeah, coconut milk all the way.
Coconut,
and some amount of almond milk.
Yeah, I think that piece is going to be useful for so many people because people don't realize how easy it is to go off milk.
Very. And it's delicious, by the way.
Ma'am, can you please tell me how to reduce body heat? I'm getting headaches because of excessive body heat. I'm going through menopause. Please suggest some home remedies to reduce body heat. Thank you.
So 2 things you can do. One is you put sabja seeds, which is called basil seeds, in a bottle of water and you sip it all day. Now sabja, which is also like the faluda seeds, swells up into a jelly-like substance and it holds a lot of moisture. It has a cooling property. It takes the heat out of your body when coming out. So it just absorbs all the extra heat. That's 1. 2, you want to stay away from pungent, spicy, hot foods. And you can also start doing a full body massage with coconut oil, a cooling oil. This will help in reducing the body heat, increasing your blood circulation, and your body will be able to heal itself. So the body temperature is off because it's going through a cycle where it's shutting down the hormones, and that's causing, the factory being shut down is causing a lot of heat and anger inside the body. So you need to cool it down. Coconut milk, again, is a cooling food. Buttermilk, you can have it from coconut milk or cruelty-free dairy-based cow milk. You can also have, good form of protein in the form of channa, sattu, that keeps your body busy. So the heat is diverted towards digestion. That also helps.
Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Dimple. This episode is so useful, I think, for everyone watching, whether you are young, old, male, female. We all need gut health, and good gut health, and we all think or don't realize the importance of using food, which is so simple. We were chatting earlier. Every single human being that you will meet is your client. That's the need of the hour. So thank you so much for coming and sharing this with everyone.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to have a platform where I could share what we've researched. And I just hope, just by listening to it also, if people could make some changes to their lifestyle, they've shifted the direction of their life forever and the destination is changed. So instead of being sick, you'll end up becoming the healthiest and the kindest version of yourself with every waking day. So thank you.
Thank you.